I don't hate the rain. After weeks of unbearable heat, anyone would welcome it, but not me. I have a deep fear of rainwater. 3 years ago, I was caught in a flood. I fell into a deep puddle and was almost buried alive. I nearly died that day. If the car hadn't broken open, I wouldn't have survived. Ever since then, every time I see heavy rain, the memories come rushing back. I picked up my phone and checked the weather forecast. Starting today, the temperature would finally drop from 43.5 degrees C to a comfortable 33 degrees C. But there was one problem. The forecast predicted non-stop rain for the next 7 days. Sometimes it would rain in the morning, sometimes in the evening, but it wouldn't stop. I didn't want to leave the house during the storm, so I decided to stock up on supplies. I bought plenty of beef, chips, soup, tomatoes, instant meals, and everything else I like to eat. It was enough food to last an entire week. After shopping, I took a taxi home. I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building. By the time I got home, the rain had become much heavier. It slammed against the windows so hard that it felt like the glass could shatter at any moment. Outside, everything had turned white. The streets were empty as everyone rushed home to escape the storm. I immediately called my parents. They were staying in the mountains, where the rain wasn't as severe. "Dad, please be careful." He looked outside and replied, "This rain is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it." "You both need to stay safe," I said. "Don't go outside unless it's absolutely necessary." "We'll be fine," my father answered. "If the water keeps rising, we'll move to higher ground." "Okay, just promise you'll be careful." After ending the call, I finally lay down to get some sleep. The next morning, I opened my eyes. The rain was still pouring. When I woke up the next morning, the rain was still pouring. It wasn't ordinary rain anymore. It crashed against the windows like countless stones. According to the weather forecast, heavy rain should have lasted only a few hours. But this storm refused to end. I walked to the window and looked outside. I couldn't see the town anymore. The streets had completely disappeared beneath the water, and even the streetlights were barely visible through the endless rain. Just then, an emergency announcement appeared in our apartment group. "Attention residents, the Weather Bureau has issued the highest level rainfall warning. Please stay indoors, keep all doors and windows closed, and avoid going outside. Floodwaters are expected to rise rapidly. All outdoor work has been suspended until further notice." At first, nobody seemed too worried. Some people even joked that the cooler weather was finally here, but by the next day, the rain was still falling. The jokes disappeared. Everyone began to panic. Residents started posting messages in the group. "Rain hasn't stopped since yesterday. The roads are already underwater. Anyone still have food left?" Fortunately, I had stocked up before the storm arrived, so I wasn't worried yet. I checked every window in my apartment to make sure they were tightly closed. Still, the sound of the rain never stopped. One day passed, then another, then another. For 7 straight days, it rained without a single break. The water level kept rising. My windows shook constantly under the force of the storm, and rainwater began leaking through tiny gaps. Every day, my parents called to check if I was safe. I always answered the same way: "Fine, don't worry about me." But the truth was, I was terrified. Then I searched for news online. What I found made my heart sink. This wasn't happening only in my city. Reports were coming in from Europe, Southeast Asia, the United States, and many other places around the world. Everywhere, the same endless rain. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. While searching for answers, I remembered reading about a strange event in Earth's ancient history. According to the book, our planet had once experienced endless rainfall that lasted for an incredibly long time, flooding almost everything. The thought sent a chill down my spine. Could this be happening again? Inside our apartment group's chat, the atmosphere had completely changed. People were no longer joking. They were asking if anyone had extra potatoes, vegetables, meat, or drinking water. Supplies were running out, and many families had already finished their food. Thankfully, I still had enough groceries stored in my apartment. I could survive another week if I had to, but if the rain continued, none of us would be safe. I looked out the window again. I still couldn't see a single person outside. The city had completely disappeared beneath the endless curtain of rain. Then another emergency notice arrived. Residents living on the lower floors were advised to prepare for evacuation if the water continued to rise. That night, more terrifying news spread online. Entire eastern regions were reportedly being swallowed by floodwaters. My fear of water became impossible to control. I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened 3 years earlier. What if the flood reached the 3rd floor? What if I had to face that nightmare all over again? I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw myself drowning again. Unable to stay inside any longer, I took the elevator to the highest floor of the building. Our apartment had 31 floors. I hoped there might be an empty unit where I could stay if the flood kept rising. Only one apartment remained unsold. But when I reached it, the heavy iron door was already locked. There was no way inside. With no other choice, I slowly returned to my apartment. That entire night, I barely slept. The sound of the rain never stopped, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw the flood. I saw myself sinking beneath the water. as if that nightmare was about to become reality once again.